You're over 50 and notice that you have a few more pounds than you'd like. Has your metabolism slowed down, or is there something else that can explain this weight gain? And how do you get rid of it once and for all? That's exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. So let's chat about, does metabolism slow down? And the answer is maybe. In one study, it showed that there is virtually no decline in metabolism between ages 18 and 50. Now you might be thinking, but I gained weight between 18 and 50. Yes, but not because your metabolism slowed down. You might have gained weight for other reasons. The same study showed that between the ages of 51 and 81, metabolism does indeed slow down, but only about 4% per decade. To put things in perspective, if your metabolism slows down by 4%, if you're eating 2,000 calories per day, the difference between 51 and 61 is only 80 calories. That's it. The difference between 61 and 71 is slightly less than maybe 76 calories, and the next one is 72 calories or so. So it's not a huge slowdown. It's not like one day it just goes. It's a very, very slow, gradual, progressive decline. And it never goes to zero. You never even half of that. And so why does metabolism slow down? Is it just the natural process of aging, or is there a lifestyle reason for the slowdown? Approximately 3/4 of the reason for the slowdown is just the loss of muscle mass. Now, if you're wondering, but I'm getting older, isn't it normal to lose muscle mass? It is normal to lose muscle mass, but the question is, how much are you losing? Furthermore, if you've never strength trained before and now you're 50 or 60 or 70 and you start strength training, it's perfectly normal to gain muscle mass and actually speed up your metabolism a little bit. It's very, very encouraged to continue strength training as you're getting older. So if you're thinking, I gained more than 4% between 51 and 81, what's going on? Well, that's not your metabolism. 4% of that could be attributed to your metabolism, but the other chunk is not your metabolism. It's probably habits that either consciously or unconsciously you've changed. Maybe you're less active around the house or around work. Maybe you're exercising less. Maybe you're eating more without noticing it. Maybe you're snacking, mindless snacking, etc. So there is a lot of possible reasons why you might have gained weight beyond the natural metabolic slowdown. And so, roughly speaking, we already know what to eat. We basically eat what our mothers told us to eat when we were 5. More vegetables, more protein, and less junk. So that's not surprising, and basically every diet agrees on that. So why don't we do it? Because information isn't motivation. Just because we know something doesn't mean we're going to do it. You see, weight gain is not because you haven't found the perfect diet. Every diet is about the same as long as it's got adequate vegetables, adequate protein, and adequate calories. And so the choice of what to eat is up to you, whether you want to do intermittent fasting or keto or paleo or Mediterranean. Whatever diet doesn't matter. As long as it's got adequate calories, adequate protein, you should be losing body fat. The problem is not the diet. The problem is your ability to stick to the diet. And what is it that undermines your ability to stick to the diet? It's really 4 major factors. Emotional eating, stress eating, lack of planning, and cravings. These are the 4 saboteurs of most diets. By looking for another diet, we're looking for a nutritional solution for what is really not a nutritional problem. Nutrition is just a surface level problem, but the real deeper problem is, well, emotional, logistical, and behavioral. And we don't solve emotional, logistical, behavioral problems with nutritional solutions. So there are a few different techniques you can use to address emotional eating, stress eating, planning, and cravings. One of the techniques you can use is called name the emotion. When it's time to eat, or when you're about to eat, ask yourself, what am I feeling? Am I feeling boredom? Am I feeling upset? Am I feeling anxious? Am I feeling happy? Etc. So you have to be able to differentiate eating when you're emotional versus eating when you're hungry. There's really only one good reason to eat. I'm hungry. And there are many bad reasons to eat. I'm bored, I'm unfocused, there's food around, it's time to eat, etc. Another great technique that we've used very successfully with clients is called the hunger fullness scale. That is, before you sit down to eat, rate your hunger and fullness on a -10 to a +10 scale. If you rate yourself between -10 and -1, you are hungry. If you rate yourself between +1 and +10 is you're full. And so when it's time to eat, give yourself a rating. If you rate yourself in the pluses, then you're full. There's no reason to eat. Okay? Keep waiting until you're in the minuses before you start eating. Rate yourself on an hourly basis. This way it helps you differentiate, saying, oh wait, but I'm not feeling hungry. Why am I sitting down to eat? After doing this for a few weeks or months, you'll start to actually listen to your body signals better and only eat when you're hungry and eat however much food it takes to satisfy you but not bloat you. As I mentioned earlier, one of the core reasons for the inability to stick to the diet is lack of planning. So let's fix that. Planning just takes 1 minute. So here's what you do. You take 1 minute at the beginning of the day and look inside your refrigerator or think about where you're going to eat that day and what are you going to eat. Just if in your phone or on paper, write down breakfast, I'm gonna have this, lunch this, dinner this. If you have snacks, say I'm gonna eat this for snacks. If you know there's going to be a birthday party at work, well, account for that. There's going to be chocolate cake at work, account for it. This way, if you put chocolate cake into the plan, well, it's part of the plan. It's not cheating because you planned for it. The psychology of it is different. If a chocolate cake just sneaks up on you unplanned, you feel bad about yourself. But if it was part of the plan, well, everything's going according to plan. This way you can just have the chocolate cake and move on. And the last technique I'll talk about in this video is to simply keep your trigger foods out of your home. For example, in my case, my trigger food is chocolate. I love chocolate so much, and not just dark chocolate. I really like both milk chocolate and white chocolate. It's so good, so delicious, and I can't control myself around it. I know that I have zero willpower around chocolate, so I just don't bring it home. And so try the same thing for you. There's no need to use willpower. If I really wanted chocolate, I have to leave my home to get it. And although I love chocolate, I don't love it enough to get dressed, get in the car, and drive somewhere to buy chocolate. Same thing for you. It's much easier to resist temptation if there is no temptation. Now that you've lost the weight, what do you do to keep it off long term? It's really just two simple strategies. One is exercise. You know how they say that for fat loss, it's nutrition plays 80% of the role and exercise plays 20% of the role? Well, that's true for weight loss, but that's not true for weight maintenance. Once you've lost the weight, to maintain it long term, you need to exercise at least 4 days per week for 30 minutes or more. For maintenance, it's more like 50-50 instead of 80-20. So very, very important to exercise, some kind of exercise, not just for its calorie burning benefits, which is relatively minor, but more for the behavioral benefits. Saying to yourself, I exercised today, I did something good for myself. Let me not negate that with bad habits, with bad lifestyle choices. So exercise is one. Another very important habit towards maintaining your fat loss is to take regular measurements, whatever they might be. This way, a lot of people just wake up and they're 20 pounds heavier. But if you're taking regular measurements, either once a week or once every 2 weeks, you can't gain 20 pounds in that period of time. So you know that if you're up a pound or two, it's not too difficult to lose a pound or two. If you're up 20 pounds, it's way more difficult to lose 20 than it is to lose 2. So you have to have some kind of guardrail, some kind of regular feedback to let you know you got to tighten up on your nutrition or on your exercise, etc. So it's very, very important to take regular measurements. What those regular measurements entail are less important than making sure they're regular. Yes, the scale is not the best tool, but it's a better tool than not using anything at all. You can use a measuring tape to measure your waist circumference. And again, it's not the best tool, but it's a tool. It's better than not doing anything. My preferred tool, because I'm a personal trainer and I work with clients, is body fat testing using calipers. In my mind, that's the most accurate tool that's accessible to the general public. Yes, there are DEXA scans, there are other devices that are not very practical to use on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, but calipers absolutely are. If you like this information, I have lots more information just like this in my free exercise and nutrition newsletter. If you click on the link in the description below, you'll have access to that newsletter where you can subscribe, and you always have the option of unsubscribing. Thank you and goodbye.